What's up, YouTubers? It's Wanderer here again. Tonight I'm going to be doing a video review of the Victorinox Swiss Army Trekker knife. This is the non-serrated version, and these are not very easy to find. I haven't seen a lot of them out there in most of the catalogs and advertisements I see for Swiss Army products. They always show the serrated, but LL Bean, here's your free shout out, does carry the non-serrated version, and that's where this one came from. I've gone ahead and opened all the implements, and I'm just going to go through them and close them as we talk about them to save a little time. To start with, on this end we've got a large flathead screwdriver with a bottle opener and an attempted wire stripper. And I don't know how big a wire you can actually strip with that. You're probably looking at 18-16 gauge at the best. But, you know, it doesn't hurt to have it on there. And, you know, if you're out on a boat and having some trouble where you need to remove some stripping on some wiring, I guess that could be useful. The next thing we're going to look at is the can opener. It also has a smaller flathead tip screwdriver. Notice we have the large one on this end. Can opener, and that pretty much speaks for itself. Now the flathead on this end, the large flathead, is one of the implements that locks in place. There are two locking tools on here. One of them is the large flathead screwdriver. The other is the main blade, and we'll talk about that in just a second. Now, we covered the can opener again. It's self-explanatory. It does have the small tip flathead screwdriver on there. Alright, now let's talk about the blades. You've got a 3-inch spear point blade on here with a one-handed opening hole. It works pretty good for opening one-handed. I'll demonstrate that in just a second when I close the other implements. It's a really sharp blade. It was sharp right out of the box. I didn't really have to do anything to it, although I could probably touch it up now since it's been used some. It's made similar to the Spyderco blades, where you have the large hole where you can one-hand thumb opening, and that's good. And again, it is a lock back once you get it in place. It is a liner lock, so you'll have to thumb unlock that. The other nice thing about this knife, especially as it applies to camping, bushcraft, survival, is you've got a saw on here. Now the saw is about 3.5 inches long. It's a good quality saw. It's stiff, not very flexible. It's got a little play in it, but pretty solid for the most part. I've used this several times, and it'll get the job done on, pretty much a, say, a 2.5, maybe even 3-inch diameter limb or sapling, whatever the case may be. It's not going to be great for any big jobs, of course, but for your smaller working, if you needed to make a handle for your hawk, or you needed to break down some other pieces of wood for, say, putting a shelter together, this would be a great tool to have. And it's lightweight, it's easy to carry versus there are applications for a larger saw, but for the most part this will get you through, short of any large jobs. The saw does not lock back. It comes out loose, and I'll just demonstrate that on that end. So, alright, and we'll talk now about the Phillips head on the back. I'm glad Victorinox is putting these on there because I know in the original versions it wasn't on there. There's really two manufacturers of Swiss Army knives, or there have been in the past. Winger was the main one for a long time. That's the ones I grew up with. And then Victorinox came along. I don't know what the status is of those two companies, if one's been bought out by the other, but I do know that this model is made by Victorinox. It's on the blade here. So, and I know they have a good large share, if not all, of the market of it now. So, but again, you've got the Phillips head here. You do have a reaming punch needle here. It does not have an eyelet on it for attaching sewing thread or any kind of line through, so that is a little bit of a drawback. It is nice that it doesn't have the corkscrew on here, however, because the corkscrew to me is just a wasted implement. I'm partially doing this video in response to Dave Canterbury's video earlier today on 3 pocket carry tools that he carries, not necessarily calling them multi-tools, but pocket tools. Now this serves as my multi-tool. and there are certainly, great arguments for carrying a multi-tool with pliers when you go out, and I certainly don't have anything against those. But for my purposes, this works great. It's lightweight. It's not real heavy, so it's nice to have in the pack. We'll fold the reamer down there. It is a solid reamer, and you can get some good holes started through it, and it'll definitely serve the purpose. Now you've got the locking mechanism, and it's just a liner lock again, and then one-handed opening. So that's a nice feature on a Swiss Army knife that they haven't put on there before. All in all, this is really solid built. It's a really great tool to have. Nothing about it has disappointed me. I did talk a little bit in response to Dave's video about the corkscrew that Victorinox was famous for putting on a lot of their knives, and they still do. I think part of that was because in the era that they were made in, when they saw their early use, corkscrews were useful. A lot of bottles, especially for soldiers, were, had corks on them, and you had a good reason to have that. That's not the case anymore, and it's really an outdated implement on the modern Swiss Army knife. What I'd really like to see them do is replace that with a drill bit, a hand drill bit on the back of that, so that you could use it for drilling out your fireboards, or drilling small holes through wood for lashings and things like that, drilling through to even have some spear points or blade points onto arrows and spears. So I think there's a good chance for that to improve, and who knows, maybe they see this or somebody passes it along. So if you know anybody at Victorinox, tell them to put a drill bit in place of the corkscrew. The last couple of things is pretty standard on Swiss Army, is the plastic toothpick and the pliers. I'm sorry, not the pliers, but the tweezers. Now the tweezers are a really good item, I think, to have on here if you're going to be out in the woods, because if you're fiddling around with small screws on your gun and you needed to place them back in and get them started, I could see that being useful. The obvious use is in first aid and getting splinters out of your hands and things like that. So those are good items to have. They've been a standard of the Swiss Army tool for many, many years, and I'm glad to see that they left those on there. Alright, we'll close that up. And one more time. All in all, guys, it's a great item. Again, the non-serrated version is kind of hard to find, but I do know that this one came from LL Bean. I haven't looked to see if they're still carrying it lately, but you can check them out. And I highly recommend the tool. It's a lot of versatility for not a lot of weight in your pack. If you have any comments, anything you want to add to it, please drop me a line on the comment page. And if you like what you're seeing and have any suggestions, then please subscribe to my channel, and let me know what else you'd like to see. I'll be doing some more videos in the coming weeks. My hunting season is over, and I'm going to reflect back on some of the things in my haversack, and what I learned out of this season and what I'll probably change. So keep an eye out for that, and that should be coming here in the next week or so. Thanks for checking it out, guys. This is Wanderer, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks.